Hi, I'm Jake, an applications engineer at Tektronix for Keithley. Today we'll be testing resistivity using the model 6517B electrometer and the model 8009 resistivity test fixture. I'm going to show you three methods to test resistivity using these two instruments. We'll start with the model 8009 resistivity test fixture. As the name implies, this is the test fixture in which you'll insert your sample, whatever you're trying to measure the resistivity of. On the front, you can see we have this button. When it's pressed out and extended, it'll show the surface resistivity, and when it's pushed in, it'll show volume. One clip in here, you can see that we have a bottom and top electrode. We'll be testing a standard piece of notebook paper, but you have to make sure that your sample is cut so that it fits between the top and bottom electrode and does not interfere with either of these two pins. First, we're going to talk about the connections between the test fixture and the electrometer. You'll want to connect your lid interlock. This is a safety feature to ensure that your operator is separated from high and dangerous voltage. So you'll connect to the test fixture there and the instrument here. Next, we'll be looking at our V-source connection on the fixture and on our instrument. You'll want to connect the high and your low. Lastly, we're going to use a standard 3-lug triax to make the meter connection on the test fixture, the input of the electrometer here. And those are all of our connections. We're going to talk about three methods of resistivity measurement using these instruments. The first of which we're going to call our resistance resistivity measurement. So we want to change to resistance mode by pressing the R button. But as you can see, we're only in resistance and only measuring ohms. So to make it resistivity, we're going to press config, then R. Here we can key all the way over until we're at measure type, press enter, resistivity, press enter. We're going to be taking care of volume resistivity today, so key over to volume and press enter. Here you can enter your thickness. The standard is 1 millimeter. That's about the thickness of our paper, so we're going to leave it there. And then we're going to change our fixture model. Here you can use a user fixture, but we'll be using the 8009. And press enter. Once you've done that, you can exit back to the main screen. You'll then want to set your voltage source using the arrow keys here. I'll key over, and we're going to source 100 volts. And so now we're ready to source 100 volts and measure the resistance. So we're going to hit operate to turn on the instrument, and you can see here it's on ohm centimeters for volume resistivity. And then we'll turn off zero check, and we can see that our paper's resistivity by this method is about 4.3 e to the 10 ohm centimeters. So we'll return to zero check and press the operate button. That's how we take care of our first resistivity test method. For our second method, we're going to be using our sequence mode. To get into that mode, we're going to press the config sequence button, go to applications and press enter, select R resistivity, press enter, and these are our next two versions. We'll start with normal, press enter. We're still testing volume resistivity, so go to that and press enter. Here is our pre-discharge, and so this will just make sure that your material is totally discharged. We'll go with 10 seconds. Our bias voltage, we're going to want to change to 100 volts. Press enter there. Our bias time is about 1 second. Our measure voltage is also 100 volts. And then our measure time should be good at about 1 second. And it will discharge at 2 seconds after the test. So now that we've set all that up, we'll exit back to the main screen. Here you'll press sequence to load in your sequence, and it tells us volume resistivity is loaded. Then tells us press enter to arm the sequence, and trig to trigger. We'll see here sequence will be blinking, telling us our test is running. It'll be sourcing the 100 volts. Again, we have the 10-second discharge and a few seconds to work, and so this may take a moment. And now we see here it finds it flashed up about 4.75 e to the 10 ohm centimeters. But to check that, we'll want to hit recall to read that data. And here we are, the 4.76 e to the 10 ohm centimeters from this test. So we'll exit out of here back to the main screen. And that's how we'll use our normal resistivity method. We're going to use our last method here called alternate polarity. This is another sequence test, so we're going to hit config sequence. Again, go to applications, and again go to resistance resistivity. We'll key over to alt polarity, press enter. We're going to have our offset be 0 volts. We're going to choose our high side to be 100 volts. Our measure time is going to be, we're going to drop it down to 5 seconds just for this test. This will depend on your material and the measurement you'd like to make. Our discard, we're going to throw out 3 readings and we'll store 1 reading. And that's set up our test. Alternate polarity is going to source 1 polarity and then switch to the other, and it will continue to do that, gathering different readings, and then save 1 to get us a more stable resistivity value. We're going to exit out to the main screen. Again, we're going to press sequence, follow the screen, enter to arm. Now that it's armed, we'll press trig to begin, and it should begin the sequence. It takes about 5 seconds at each voltage step as we set in our setup. And so you can see here it's at negative 100 volts while sequence is blinking, and it'll change to positive 100 volts. This is going between the different polarities and making these measurements. If you had a longer measurement time, this would be a significantly longer test, but we'll just have to wait until this period is finished. And here we can see that with this method, we were able to get 5.36 e to the 10 ohm centimeters, and so that's the result that we got from this test. All are fairly close in the 4.75 more or less range. So this was the 3 methods that we used for resistivity testing. That's how we measure resistivity using the 6517B and 8009. If you have any further questions, please contact us at Tektronix Technical Support. We'd be happy to help.